All right, today we're going to be estimating sums and differences of fractions. So far we've talked about simplifying, we've talked about how to convert mixed numbers and improper fractions back and forth, we've talked about the greatest common factor, and now we're going to be moving on to adding and subtracting fractions, and they will have like denominators. But we will move on to unlike denominators in a little bit. So their denominators will be the same. But before we do that, we need to learn how to estimate fractions. So we're going to be learning how to use something called a benchmark on a number line in order to estimate fractions. So a benchmark fraction this is something important to know later on when we start to work on multiplying and dividing as well. A benchmark fractions are fractions that are easy to visualize. Like 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, and so forth. And that is what you would be using on a number line. So they're easy to visualize. So I'm going to show you how to use a number line here, okay? I'm going to estimate 7/10 minus 2/5. Okay, so I'm going to draw a number line, and these fractions are in between 0 and 1. Okay, we're going to be talking about between 0 and 1, and I'm going to use 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4 as my benchmarks, because we can definitely visualize those. Now also remember that 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2, okay? Now, we are going to say we're going to focus on right here, and right here for now, okay? These we can look at in the future. So we're just going to look at 0, 1/2, and 1. Is 7/10 closer to 1/2, 1, or 0? So I know that it's not 0. Halfway to 10 would be 5. So 5/10 would be right here. That would be 1/2. Okay? So 7/10 would be 2 over. 1 would be 10/10. Okay? 1 would be 10/10 because any number over a number is 1. So is 7/10 closer to 1/2? Or 7/10 closer to 1? It is closer to 1/2. So I am going to estimate this to be 1/2. I'm actually going to get a different color so we can see the difference. All right, so 2/5, we can't divide completely in half, but 2/5 is almost half, because half of 5 is 2.5. So I'm going to also put this as 1/2. Now, if I couldn't pick between 1/2 and I only had 0 and 1, I would have picked 0 here and 1 here. So this answer is actually going to be 0, because 1/2 minus 1/2 is 0. So let's try another one. Okay, so I'm going to do 0, 1/2, and 1. So 2/4 is equal to 1/2. So we're going to keep that at 1/2. Okay? 3/4 is halfway here. So we're going to make that 1. So 1 minus 1/2 would be 1/2. All right, our next one, I'm going to do one more. All right, so they don't need to have the same denominator. We don't even need to technically add these fractions. We're estimating them. So 7/15 is close to 1/2. So I'll say 7/15 is close to here. So I'm going to do 1/2 plus 4/10 is closer to 1/2 as well. 5/10 would be 1/2. So 4/10 would be about here. So I'm going to say 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. So what you're going to do over here is you're going to copy these notes down, or these are your practice problems that we're going to work on together. So copy those down, pause, and then come back for me to go over them. All right, 11/12 is almost 1 whole. So I'm going to change this to 1. 1/6 is close to 0. So that would be about 1/6 would be here. 11/12 would be like here. So that's 1 plus 0 equals 1. 14/16. 14/16 is close to 1. Okay, halfway would be 8, so this would be 8/16. That's how I figure. 14/16 is closer to this one than 8/16. So I'm going to make this 1 minus 4/8 would be halfway, so 5/8 is really close to 1/2. So we're going to make that 1/2. Okay, and our next one, 4/8 would be 1/2, so 7/8 is very close to a whole. So we're going to make that 1. 6/12 would be 1/2. 5/12 is very close to 1/2. So that would also be 1/2 there. My next one, 9/10 would be very close to 10/10. Okay, 5/10 would be halfway because 5 is half of 10. So I'll make that a 1 plus 3/6 would be halfway. 5/6 would be pretty close to here too. So that's going to be a 1 and we will be 2 as our estimate. The next one, so basically what I do is I find what's half of the denominator. I mean, the denominator, 9/8. Okay, and this would be, 9/18. This would be 18/18. So 11/18 is very close to 1/2. It's closer here than it is to here. So I'm going to make that a 1/2. Okay, 1/2 of 9, it's an odd number, is 4.5. So 2/9 is closer to 0 than it is 1/2. So we're going to make that 1/2. Okay, so you're going to go on Sabbath and you're going to be working on the practice there.